Welcome back to the Raw Feed. I'm Tom McCullough, filling in for Gary Franchi. And guys, the deep state mask has completely fallen off. We're streaming live to millions on YouTube, plus our Patriots on Rumble and X. So make sure you're following us on all the platforms because big tech censorship is in overdrive. Right now, before we dive into today's explosive updates, hit up our Super Chats and Rumble rants. We're featuring them on screen throughout the show. Send them in now, and we'll get them up for the world to see. This is your show, and we're here reading your reactions to these breaking developments in real time. So listen up. If you want to support independent media fighting the information war, hit those donation links in the description. And we can't do this without you. And speaking of support, check out our merch at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got Alligator, Alcatraz, President Autopen, and our American Badass series. So show the world where you get real news. So text the stream to everyone you know, bypass the algorithm, repost this on X. We're not just reporting news, we're building an army of truth. And so what sets us apart? We don't just talk at you, we talk with you. And your voice, it matters here. So don't forget to download the Next News Network app right now. We have breaking news alerts 24/7 and exclusive content you won't see anywhere else. And Android users, hit the Google Play Store, and iPhone users, grab it from the App Store. Links are below, and never miss a story that matters. And for those who want exclusive perks, join our YouTube channel membership, special chat room acknowledgement, behind-the-scenes access, and our members-only 24/7 Discord. And each level has its own benefits, so become the Next News Network Inner Circle today. So we're going to take you back to October 14th, 1962. That's exactly 63 years ago today. A U-2 spy plane flying over Cuba photographed Soviet nuclear missiles being installed just 90 miles from American shores. And the world stood on the brink of nuclear war as two superpowers faced off. But here's what they don't teach in schools anymore. It wasn't diplomacy that saved us, it was pure American strength. And Kennedy's naval blockade and readiness to use force made Khrushchev blink. And today we're witnessing that same principle in action. Trump just gave Hamas an ultimatum that would make JFK proud. Disarm or we'll do it for you. There was no negotiations, no appeasement, just American power projected globally. But while Trump's bringing peace through strength abroad, the domestic enemies are showing their true colors. And Mexican cartels are putting bounties on ICE agents' heads. And we've got the DSH documents proving narco-terrorists are coordinating with Antifa to target our federal officers. And in Chicago, leftist mobs are throwing rocks at agents again. In Portland, we caught them on camera moving riot supplies into secret storage facilities. And let's not forget about Jack Smith. His crimes are finally exposed. And Jim Jordan just dropped a nuclear bomb. Smith illegally tracked private communications of Republican senators. He planted evidence at Mar-a-Lago, seized Trump's medical records, and now he's on a speaking tour trying to cover his tracks. And every word he speaks digs his grave deeper. And the Democrats shutdown, while they demand millions for transgender programs in the Balkans and desert locust prevention in Africa, American families can't visit the Smithsonian. And food stamp recipients are being told they'll run out of money. But hey, at least Honduras got their climate resilience funding, right? And this Sunday, the left's No Kings protests promises to be, and I quote, the largest peacetime protest in American history. But we know who's funding it, we know who's organizing it, and we're going to expose every single detail. So stay locked in. We're about to blow the lid off the stories the mainstream media is desperately trying to hide. Oh man, how you guys doing? How's the audio today? Is it doing better than yesterday, I'm hoping, right? All right. Who we got in here? We got the Kennys coming in today. Let's see. I know I saw Pothead Kenny earlier. We missed you guys yesterday. Karen, hey, to see you here again, Karen. We got Sandy Watch. Hello, dear Patriots. Well, hello to you, too. And we've got Michael. We got quite a few people in here. Jeremy Olson, nice to see you again. Newscom's back. I love it. Karen Finley, St. Charles. Michael Fiacco. Nice to see you, Mike. How are you? Not too far from here, I take it, huh? And we've got Corey Mays. What's up, N3 family? Let's do this. Navajo Nation in the house. Welcome, buddy. Nice to see you. We got AJ Cruz, Tom. Yeah, it's me, Tom, tonight. I know Gary will be back on assignment tomorrow. He's out doing his thing again today. He will be back tomorrow. I know you guys don't like seeing me, so maybe we'll get him in tomorrow. Who else we got? A couple more, then we'll get into topic one here. Any super chats come in, Bray? Make sure you guys are sending some super chats tonight. Help support the crew. We got, we're going into Christopher Smith from Lexington, Kentucky. How you doing, Chris? Nice to see you. Chino Jr., hello. D saying hi. We've got American flag and some and an eagle. Our Brad saying hey. We got Steven Erickson from Michigan. We got a lot of cool stuff tonight, and there's some crazy stuff going on in Chicago that we're going to get into. I think it's in segment 2. They're trying to tear down the only protection that the ICE has before they can storm it with their rocks and their protesters, those pricks. So we'll get through it. We got Dave Hemmond. I'm waiting on my buddy Redneck Newsom to pop in here. I don't see him in the chat. My guy. He's my fishing buddy. Alberta, Canada. Are you guys fighting globalists? There's 2 provinces in Canada that are voting next year to secede and become their own countries and possibly United States. All right. I'm ready when you are, Brian. All right. Mexican cartels just declared war on American law enforcement, and DHS confirms narco-terrorists are placing assassination bounties on ICE agents in Chicago. These aren't threats. These aren't warnings. Actual cash contracts for dead federal officers, while agents dodge rocks and chemical weapons. And Antifa terrorists in Portland load weapons into secret storage units, and they coordinate attacks wearing panda suits to mock you while planning murder. This isn't protest. It's an invasion. Foreign cartels and domestic terrorists are uniting to hunt our people on American soil. And the footage I'm about to show you will change everything. They want our agents dead, they want our borders erased, and they want chaos, and they're getting help from the inside. So make sure you keep on watching, guys. So gold has gone mainstream. You're seeing it everywhere, and prices keep climbing. Every day, more and more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? That's where Noble Gold investment comes in. And Noble Gold specialists are trained to help investors like you go from confused to confident, from wondering what's next to knowing exactly what to do. Whether you're looking to roll over an old 401k into a gold IRA, or you want physical coins and bars delivered right to your home, Noble Gold makes the process simple, safe, and stress-free. And you're going to get step-by-step guidance, transparent pricing, and a U.S.-based service from a team that's handled over $2.5 billion in precious metal transactions. And with Noble Gold Investments, protecting and growing your wealth isn't just their job, it's their commitment. So visit nextnewsgold.com today to claim your free wealth protection kit. Again, that's nextnewsgold.com. And that's Noble Gold, helping you build a stronger future. So the Department of Homeland Security just confirmed what we've been reporting, that narco-terrorists in Mexico are working with domestic extremist groups, otherwise known as terrorists, to place bounties worth thousands of dollars on federal immigration officers in Chicago. And let me show you exactly how violent this has become. So here's exclusive footage from Chicago where the leftist mobs are launching their assault on federal agents. And watch as they coordinate their attack, then unleash violence when law enforcement arrives. Take a look.
And when you first got on scene and you were able to talk to some neighbors and some witnesses there on the scene and describe to us what initially...
Judy, wait 1 second. Okay. I see Chicago police are arriving and putting themselves in the middle of the situation right now. It appears there might be someone in command, from what I can see, approaching the area. I'm not sure if this is in an attempt to start dispersing the crowd. But we have just in the last few seconds.
I'll give you a preview. It's going to get wild in about 5 seconds.
Seen Chicago police would remain at bay, now starting to put themselves in the middle of the, oh God. Protesters are starting to throw rocks. We're going to get away from the scene right now, Judy.
Okay, Michelle, you take care of yourself. I'm going to let her get off the phone. We really appreciate it. Get to a safe place. So what you're watching, what you continue to watch, is exactly what Michelle has been describing. This, again, at the intersection 105th and Avenue N.
You see how quickly the Chicago Police Department ran away? There's only like 2 guys. The rest of the people kind of just like teetered off into nowhere.
Last Michelle said is protesters started throwing rocks, and you can see that there is some chemical being deployed right there at this intersection. Just prior to this, you did see what appeared to be Chicago police officers and some commanders there trying to have some type of a dialogue with the protesters.
Can you imagine living inside those houses that's right there? Like there's like 15 residential properties right in that area, and everybody's standing outside in front of your house every day, and you got tear gas coming in. What if you got a new baby living there? These people have no consideration for anybody else in the area. It's disgusting.
Protesters there at the intersection, it would seem that they were trying to disperse the crowd and maybe usher them off the street so that the agents could possibly move their vehicles. And it was at that point that Michelle noticed that protesters started throwing rocks, and this is the end result. Earlier, we had heard that there were pepper balls being sprayed into the crowd because someone had thrown eggs, or some neighbors had thrown something at the agents. And now reports of rocks being thrown, and that was coming from Michelle, a reporter right there on the ground. She has now gotten off the phone with us. They're trying to get to a safer place, of course, but we can continue to watch this picture. Fortunately, with Chopper 7 up in the air, we can still continue to monitor what is happening here. Again, if you are just joining us here on stream, this situation has been very tense for the last, maybe about 40 minutes.
So that's tear gas being deployed after protesters threw rocks at our federal agents. Michelle, a reporter on the ground, had to flee for safety, and this isn't protest, it's organized violence. But it gets worse. Annie No just exposed Antifa's Portland operation, catching them red-handed, transporting riot supplies to a secret storage facility. And this isn't spontaneous, it's military-style logistics. Take a look.
Oh, shit. Thank you for the donation, Kyle. You're awesome. Yes, sir. Let's go see where they take it. Look, they're going inside here. Look at this.
Looks like it's the same facility where they were hiding the ballots at.
They're literally going inside of here. They're literally going inside of this place. What is this place? What is this place?
You are not permitted to be here. You are on private property.
We need to figure out what this place is.
Yeah, get the address and send it over to Cash Patel, because they're going to track every one of those people down.
I think it's a storage place. Reserved for South Waterfront storage.
Come on, get the license plates. They're right there.
So they got a storage in here, you guys. They got a storage in here. They got a storage in there.
Let us know in the comments if you guys saw this happening. What would you do? Would you take the license plates down? Would you report them?
That's crazy. South Waterfront heated storage. Did you guys know you guys are supporting terrorists out here? You guys have literal terrorists bringing shit into your company. You better you better do something about that before Trump comes after these people.
So South Waterfront heated storage, that's where they've been stashing weapons and riot gear, unit by unit, building their arsenal while authorities are doing nothing. Then Antifa pulled their most cynical move yet. When Trump called them terrorists, they dressed up in inflatable costumes. And guess who was there to film their propaganda? CNN. Watch this orchestrated psyop in action. Take a look.
Just yesterday, as you know, the president hosted a White House roundtable on Antifa. The question is that who's actually behind some of the protests outside the ICE facility in Portland? Our Shimon Prokupes is there.
Another night in Portland. A few more arrests, but that's not why we're here tonight.
You've got a presence in Portland that is Antifa affiliated.
We've come to ask
Antifa thugs
about Antifa. You're not Antifa, right?
Honestly, I don't even know what that means anymore because
You notice he said he doesn't know what that means anymore. Okay? They know what's going on. They're full of it.
Domestic terrorist Antifa. Domestic terrorist Dustin Ragsfeld. Dustin Ragsfeld. Antifa terrorist.
He's talking about all those people in inflatable costumes. There are more costumes tonight, right, than there's been.
Yeah, I've been hoping for this for months, actually.
Dustin Ragsdale is the guy in the panda suit. He's also a Navy vet, lives in the community, and has been here for over 100 days. He says the panda suit is a reaction to this.
This network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah.
Watching the media spin people in blow-up costumes because it's a soft approach, the media is out of there by 8 o'clock at night. When the protests turn violent, the media is nowhere to be seen. And then they air this crap so the rest of the world and the rest of America thinks it's just people in blow-up costumes. Trump's crazy.
Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them.
If Portland is being full-on Portland and it's Comic-Con out here, it's kind of hard to spin that narrative calling us like terrorists and stuff when we're just out here in funny costumes dancing.
Dustin Ragsdale, Navy vet turned Antifa terrorist, admits on camera that they wear panda suits to avoid being called what they are, domestic terrorists. And Glenn Beck followed the money trail, and what he found should terrify every American. That's millions of dollars flowing through dark money networks straight to Antifa's war chest. Watch.
And then you have this, funding sources. Now this is interesting. Again, who do you write your check to? This is split between nonprofits and foundations, also crowdfunding sources. Now, I already mentioned the Tides Foundation, one of the darkest of the dark left-wing radical money funnels on the planet. You know, who knows all the trails that lead back to Tides? But just for starters, let's look at these. Tides Foundation funds an organization called Alliance for Global Justice. Money from here. They refunnel money to groups like Refuse Fascism. They also give to the National Lawyers Guild, over $1 million from 2018 to 2019 alone. Are you going to write a check for $1 million to a leaderless group that has no organization at all and just say, yeah, you guys know what to do with it? Who knows what to do with it? This is how the radical left-wing money trail operates. It's designed to be opaque. It's designed to be confusing and disappear. But the connections are all there. So why haven't we done anything about it up until now?
So the Tides Foundation, Open Society, Alliance for Global Justice, those all sound so nice. And over $1 million in just 2 years to the National Lawyers Guild alone. This is organized, funded terrorism. Watch again.
Okay, up next, who else but George Soros' spooky dudes, Open Society Foundation. They also fund the Alliance for Global Justice. They also are with the Antifa support groups. The charitable funding sources are legion for just that one. Then you have Fidelity Investments. Where do you have your money invested? Fidelity Investments Charitable Gift Fund. They donate to the National Lawyers Guild. Also, Schwab Charitable Fund. Boy, if I had my money in Schwab, or Fidelity, I don't know if I would have it. They're giving to the people who are supporting these people. I mean, I could go on, and we haven't even gotten to the crowdfunding platforms. You have ActBlue and Patreon. You have Fundraiser, the Action Network. Then you have book sales. Book sales? Oh yeah, book sales like the college professor that produced the Antifa handbook. Look, I'm not accusing anyone here. I'm just saying this is pretty much off the top of my head. I'm just showing the connections that have a very strong odor attached to them. And I've followed these people long enough to know this is the way it works.
I wonder how many people who actually have money in Fidelity or Schwab are going to keep the money in there after this news breaks. And don't forget about ActBlue. Your investment firms and donation platforms are funding domestic terrorism. Book sales from the Antifa handbooks. This is an industry of violence. And the media's response? They're completely denying it. Watch this montage of talking heads claiming Antifa doesn't even exist while cities are burning behind them. Take a look.
There's no Antifa. This is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa.
Like, I don't even know what Antifa is. There is no group.
It's not even like far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. Compared to right-wing extremists, Antifa-linked violence is rare and limited.
It isn't an organization. It is a.
She said it was rare and limited. They caused $4.3 billion in property damage over the course of a couple years. Remember the Summer of Love when half the cities in the country were burning because Antifa was out rioting?
In many ways, mythology.
It's not like the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers, sort of defined terrorist organizations with leadership that leads violence.
It's not a highly organized movement. It's a moniker. It's not a unified group like the Proud Boys.
They used to be unified and going after anti-fascists back in the 1940s when there was real ones out there, not Trump and his people that are running the government right now.
Things like Antifa are things that are thought up.
It's all in this guise of going after Antifa, which is nothing. There's no organization called Antifa.
Nobody's a member of Antifa because it doesn't exist. They are just declaring into existence something that doesn't exist.
There is no Antifa organization, so maybe that's good for social media, but it really is non-existent.
They exist on the internet in chat rooms and in 4chan and Discord and places like that, where they run discussion boards, trade tactics, documents.
That's the same place that Charlie Kirk's person was at.
Things like that. But none of them are called Antifa.
So they keep saying that there is no Antifa. As they say, that's the same time as federal agents are dodging rocks and chemical weapons. It's a mythology that they're claiming, while bounties are being placed on law enforcement heads. And Marjorie Taylor Greene just introduced legislation to codify Trump's executive order designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, and no future president can undo it with a pen stroke. Take a look.
Antifa has been allowed to flourish in this country for far too many years. The Department of Justice needs to investigate that organization, investigate those that fund it, and they need to disband it and prosecute. This is a group that is focused on anarchy and has consistently attacked the government and attacked law enforcement. So I think that's something extremely serious, and they should be very aggressive in pursuing it. Everyone loves safety. Everyone loves when crime is reduced. And this isn't an argument among basically the common sense 80% of Americans.
Margie Greene just said everybody hates, doesn't like crime. They don't like violence. The Democrats love crime and they love violence and they love watching their cities burn because that keeps people in their pocket so they can keep voting for the Democrat machine.
Americans. So it's only controversial with 20% of the radical left that love lawlessness, love open borders, and want to continue to degrade our American way of life, really.
Okay, 80% of Americans see this as common sense, and the other 20% are the radical left who want chaos to continue. And here's a smoking gun. A U-Haul arrives at Portland's ICE facility, delivering equipment and supplies to protesters. This isn't grassroots. This is coordinated insurrection. Watch.
I'm here in Portland right now, and it looks like Antifa, the protesters here, have had a shipment dropped off in a U-Haul right here. They're saying it's all the stuff that's been taken away from rapid response and from people since they've been out here. So there's a whole U-Haul full of stuff that's been getting dropped off right now of all of the equipment from the past few months of their protest. You have all this stuff that's getting dropped off right here. You have all the inflatables as well that the people have been protesting in. A little strange. They have a U-Haul shipment full of all the stuff that's apparently...
Okay, you guys see the inflatables that are there? If you guys saw those inflatables, let us know in the comments. But they are sitting there with the inflatables on the rack so people can go in and change the perspective. Somebody is funding this and they're planning it. They saw the dude in the frog suit get sprayed with the pepper spray. They said, hey, that did really good on camera. That got a lot of views. Now they're jumping on this to change the narrative again. The Democrats are scumbags for what they do and how deep they think. And there's people are so stupid that they're buying into this.
Been taken away. So stuff's been coming in. There's still protesters out right now. It's like 4 p.m. right now, I believe. And the protesters are starting to show up here to the ICE facility in Portland.
So 4 p.m. on a weekday, and they're getting deliveries of protest equipment. And what's in those boxes? We know from their secret storage unit, like weapons, shields, and chemical agents. So if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So they put prices on American heads, and Mexican cartels and Antifa are working together to assassinate federal agents. This is an act of war. While they dress in costumes to gaslight America, they're building weapon caches, coordinating with narco-terrorists, and planning executions. And Glenn Beck exposed the money, millions from Soros flowing through dark networks. And every inflatable costume hides a terrorist, and every peaceful protest masks an assassination plot. And in Chicago, agents can't go home without checking for cartel hitmen. Portland officers face chemical weapons from protesters who store military supplies in heated units. The media says Antifa doesn't exist, while bounties get collected on American blood. And Marjorie Taylor Greene's legislation will brand them for what they are, terrorists. No more games and no more denials. So here's my question for you guys. Should coordinating with foreign cartels to kill American agents be punishable by death? Let me know yes or no in the comments. And again, this is war, and they fired first. It's time to finish it. So get our merch and pick a side. What's up, guys? Man, you see they actually had like the inflatables on the racks. Like somebody's paying for this. They're organizing so well to make sure that they have that image. It's perfectly crafted so they can go on all their talk shows next week and screw with everybody and try to change the narrative back to what they're doing. All right, Antifa does, from Holly's 0815, Antifa predates Nazis and it ferry rose to even age to Germany itself. Correct, and I think that was in response to some stuff that was going on in Russia. We got helicopter rides for Clantifa. We have Chicago Big Dog says they obviously exist. There's a lot of MK Ultra victims. There probably is. And who says, who's funding this? Lampwick First Nations native said, who is funding this? George Soros and Obama cronies and all the others that are about to get indictments. George Soros and Alex Soros are under active investigation. And I hope they start freezing those bank accounts because there's a lot of us who are just so pissed. We got the boycott the whole entertainment industry. The money we paid to make them rich is what's funding anti-America. Yes. That was from Lisa Lisak. Could not agree more. Bingo from a few people on that. Where I'll be going in here. Any super chats, Bri? Trans-Tifa from Cram. That's awesome. Nobody's loving us tonight, Brian says with the super chats. Maybe we'll get some in a bit. Heather Reeves said, forever, the R word strikes again. He's black, so I'll vote for you. That's hilarious. That's from my friend Nick Shirley, and he's from my home state of Utah, where live, celebrate, and yes, that's from the only Ron. Awesome to see you guys. Let me know when you're ready for segment 2, Bri. Cool, give me 1 second here. Let me click through. I lied. All right. They're calling it the largest peacetime protest in American history. This Saturday, October 18th, millions are being mobilized to flood American streets. But this isn't protest, it is insurrection. The No Kings movement has been hijacked by the same terror networks putting bounties on federal agents. And we've obtained leaked communications proving that they're stockpiling weapons, coordinating with foreign agitators, and planning synchronized violence across 4,000 locations. The matching signs, identical equipment, military precision. This is a declaration of war disguised as free speech. And they're counting on you to see grandmas with signs while they position armed cells in every major city. This is their end game. Total chaos leading to revolution. They think you're too comfortable to stop them and prove them wrong. Keep watching. So just like the chaos coming to our streets this Saturday, your financial future faces threats from every direction. Medicare confusion is bankrupting seniors while violent protests destroy our communities. But here's one thing you can control. Chapter makes Medicare simple. In less than 20 minutes, they'll compare every plan available, over 24,000 nationwide, and help you save an average of $1,100 a year. And their advisors are independent, salaried, and they're not commissioned. They work for you and not insurance companies pushing agenda-driven plans like the left pushes their protests. And while radical organizers mobilize millions for destruction, you can mobilize your savings with one phone call. The annual enrollment period is here, and don't let another year pass for paying for coverage that doesn't protect you. So call Chapter at 910-728-4109. That's 910-728-4109. Or visit askchapter.org/next. Take control where you can. So the left's mask is coming off. Watch as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent exposes their coordinated violence network and promises justice for their crimes. Take a look.
And we are going to, as they always say, follow the money. When you see these groups where all the signs match, they have hundreds of the same umbrellas that they're using. After they cause the mayhem, they have the same lasers that they're using to blind our police force. How are they constructed? Because this takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of organization, and we are going to do that. We have started to compile lists, put together networks, and there's a long record here. And we don't know how much of the support's coming in from overseas. We don't know how much being supported by U.S. nonprofits, C3s that give money to C4s. But this is mission critical for us now. Just as after 9/11 and Osama bin Laden, the ultimate culprit, was captured, we are operationalizing this here at Treasury, and we are going to track down who is responsible for this. So Charlie's death has set this off, and we are determined not only to honor him, but to keep our country safe and to ensure freedom of speech on both sides. That we can't, as conservatives, we can't be afraid to go out and speak. I know people are canceling speeches. They're having to bring down the size of the rallies. President Trump was millimeters away from death, and he was not deterred, and we're not going to be deterred.
That's because every single person in the administration has a giant backbone. And he said we are operationalizing this at Treasury. They're following the money, the matching signs, the identical umbrellas, the synchronized lasers used to blind police. This takes millions of dollars in funding and military-level coordination. A federal judge in Illinois just ruled that the protective fencing around ICE facilities must come down. And Democrat House Speaker compared it to the Berlin Wall. Watch what happens next.
Officials in Broadview, Illinois are demanding federal authorities remove the additional fencing around the ICE facility immediately. This comes after a federal judge ordered the barrier brought down by midnight local time Tuesday night.
So the Democrats are trying to get the fence removed, so there are thousands of protesters that are rioting right now. You saw it in the first segment. It was them throwing rocks and eggs and tear gas is going off. They're trying to get those, the fencing removed so they can just storm the facility.
Senior correspondent Mike Tobin is in Broadview again tonight.
Violent weekend clashes surrounding the ICE processing facility in Broadview, Illinois, resulted in 22 arrests. This as a U.S. district judge rules that the fence put up as demonstrations grew needs to come down by midnight Tuesday. The judge says it is on municipal land and blocks emergency vehicles. Comparing the fence to the Berlin Wall, the Democratic Illinois House Speaker channeled Ronald Reagan.
Mr. Trump, tear down this fence now.
Oh, that sounded so terrible. Where did they even come up with that idea for this? It's so just beyond the worst comparison ever.
Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy and former Congressman Luis Gutierrez marched up to the fence.
We demand that I be able to access this facility.
Well, I understand your request, but at this point, I can't authorize that visit.
What about the argument that ICE and Border Patrol are simply enforcing the laws that Congress writes?
We passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964, and tens of thousands of people were brutalized during the Civil Rights Act, so we could be judged on the content of our character, not.
They passed the immigration laws back in the 1790s and the 1800s. They reaffirmed it back in the late 1800s, and they did so again in the early 1900s and the 50s and the 70s. These guys are out of their minds. It's only because they want congressional seats that they're willing to ignore all of these violent acts and all the things that they're doing is for congressional seats. These guys are guilty in this.
The color of our skin.
People are being stopped and detained merely because of the way they look. That is illegal. That's unconstitutional.
Yeah. Meantime, 200 Texas National Guardsmen are stuck on a base in a Chicago suburb. A federal appeals court ruled that the Trump administration has the authority to federalize the Guardsmen, but not to deploy them in a state against the wishes of the governor. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is urging Texas Governor Greg Abbott to bring his troops home.
You ought to get them the heck out of Illinois and send them back so they can protect the state of Texas instead of invading our state.
The Broadview police chief tells us the fence will be replaced by a gate staffed by local law enforcement. The idea is that emergency vehicles can get through. Protesters, in theory anyway, cannot. Brett, back to you.
Mike Tobin, live.
And given what's happened with the local law enforcement, I don't think we could trust them to make sure that that gate stays closed. And they're demanding the fence come down by midnight so violent mobs can attack federal agents. And Texas National Guard troops are trapped on base because a liberal governor won't let them help. But here's where it gets truly sick. Virginia Democrat Jay Jones called for Republicans and their children to die. Glenn Youngkin just dropped the hammer on this violent rhetoric. Take a look.
Yeah, I think this is a very clear reflection on a lack of courage and a lack of morality here, as we have not just Jay Jones, who did say these horrible, horrible things. I mean, he texted that he wanted to put 2 bullets in our former Speaker of the House's head and see his children die, and then a few cops should die as well. And he doesn't have the moral clarity or the courage to step out of this race. And we have Democrat leaders across the state who are trying to pretend like he didn't really say this. And at the end of the day, Virginia voters need to get out and vote. We've seen this race tighten up big time. And as a result, this race is now in play. And we need to get people out to vote. The reality is Abigail Spanberger, who
had a Republican said the same thing that guy said, it would be on every single news station 24/7. ABC, NBC, all those guys barely covered it. They asked the person running for governor to denounce him. The person running for governor decided to not denounce this person who wished death on somebody by putting 2 bullets in their head. It's insane.
is the Democrat candidate for governor, had 3 chances in a recent debate for her to say that she doesn't support Jay Jones anymore, and she refused to do it. And it just is another window into the calculus of we'll do anything in order to win coming out of the Democrat Party. And finally, Winsome Earl-Sears, who is our Republican lieutenant governor today, has been very clear. She stands for law enforcement, she stands against violence, and she has courage and moral clarity. And that's the choice that's on the ballot right now. And as I said, this race is really tightened up. Polls are showing that. And it's time for folks to get out to the ballots and vote.
Put that in like 2 bullets in the speaker's head, children dying, cops murdered. This is the Democrat candidate for attorney general, and the Democrat gubernatorial candidate refused to denounce him. A Cuban immigrant just explained what Americans are too comfortable to see. This violent revolution playbook has been used before, and it always ends in the same way. Watch.
But go back to your point about leftist violence. You have to understand this is not something new. This is not something that's randomly happening. It happened in China, it happened in Vietnam, it happened in Cuba, which I'm Cuban. So every single time the leftists take over, what do they want? Revolution. To what? Break down the status quo. How do they do that? Not through peace, they do it through revolution. Che Guevara, Fidel Castro, Pol Pot, Mao Zedong, Stalin. Every single time, that's how they do it.
And what the first step that they always did was disarm the population. You guys support your local Second Amendment chapters.
You know who they use? All of you. They use the university students. They use leftists. The authoritarians, the strongmen, convinced the leftists to fight for them. It happened in Iran where the Ayatollah took over. It happened in Cuba with Castro. They get the leftists to disrupt and cause destabilization. Once they take power, they get rid of all of the leftists that help them get in power. Mao Zedong created the Red Guard. When he got in power, he said, all universities canceled. I want you to get my book, it's called the Little Red Book, put it in your pocket, and go around, and if any teacher has spoken out against me, I want you to tell.
They also took God out of schools. They took God out of people's families. When they do that, they take away the weapons. They take away your ability to fight back. They change the youth, so you're ratting on your parents. This is what they've been trying to do with schools. That's why they reduced the reporting rules and all those other things that are happening. They're following a playbook.
The communist commissar were going to arrest them and kill them. They did that. The army didn't step in. They allowed the protesters and the revolutionaries to do what they want. You know what Mao did after he got power? He said, I don't need any more destabilization. He sent them out into the fields to work, and 9 million of them died. That's what he's done. The Shah did it, the same thing to the leftists. The leftists are always, we call them the useful idiots. Not all of them, but the ones who are revolutionary. They are used to destabilize. They go after the young people in universities every single time, hundreds and hundreds of years. This is the same thing happening over again. This is not new. What you're experiencing is not new. It's just new to you. It's new to our age.
It's not new. Guys, it's not new. Mao's Red Guard, Castro's revolutionaries, the Ayatollah's student army, they all use the same tactics. Mobilize the youth, destabilize society, take the guns, seize power, then eliminate the useful idiots who help them. And Republican senators are calling out the No Kings protests for what they are: paid Antifa operations designed to overthrow our republic. Watch.
But again, the No Kings protest, Maria, really frustrating. I mean, this is part of Antifa, paid protesters. It begs the question, who's funding it? But yeah, Democrats want to wait for a big rally of a No Kings protest, when the bottom line is, who's running the show in the Senate? Chuck Schumer's not running the show. The No Kings protesters or organizers are running the show. Is AOC threatening a primary against Chuck Schumer? Is she running the show? But you need a strong leader in the Senate to take control and make decisions. And Chuck Schumer's blown in the breeze. He has no power, no authority, because he's given it up to his primary opponent, potentially in AOC, or to the No Kings protest organizers, and it's shameful.
And
Who's funding it? The same people who funded the Antifa terror networks, the same dark money flowing through the same channels to create chaos. Watch this No Kings organizer accidentally reveal their true nature while trying to sound all patriotic or whatnot. Take a look.
Something amazing and unprecedented is going to happen in this country, the United States of America.
I already don't like this guy. Let me know if you agree in the comments.
This upcoming Saturday, October 18th. This upcoming Saturday, October 18th, will be the largest peacetime protest in American history. Think about that for a minute. This upcoming Saturday, October 18th, millions and millions and millions
of paid Antifa protesters, spit it out,
and millions and millions and millions of Americans will organically take to the streets.
You just say organically? They're passing flyers out and they're paying people to be there. That's not organically.
In some 4,000 neighborhoods, towns, and cities around America.
That's not going to happen in my town.
To just reaffirm that basic American principle that this country was founded upon. No kings.
Does anybody else notice that he looks a lot like Epstein? Let me know in the comments. He looks just like the guy. It's kind of creepy.
Not here. Not in America.
So he said millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of whatever taking to the streets, 4,000 locations, all organic, while matching signs, coordinated messaging, and professional organizers, along with some people that are getting paid. And here's another organizer coaching protesters on their propaganda strategy. So listen carefully to how calculated that this deception is. Take a look.
And it's also funny that they can't actually say no kings. They've got to make some other name up for it because they understand it. They say no kings. How is that objectionable? Right. How could anybody say that that's anything other than the most American thing since apple pie? But I do think we have to hold two things in our head at the same time. One, anybody who's been to a protest this year that's been organized by Indivisible or No Kings has seen moms and grandmas and kids and dogs and funny chants, and it was a feeling of joyous power out in the streets. And on the other hand, we've got an authoritarian regime who wants to crack down on free speech. So we should show up in force and we should take care. We should attend the security training briefings. We should attend the how to de-escalate briefings and trainings. We should do that work so that if anything happens at these protests, we're ready to do it. But if your First Amendment rights are under attack and you decline to show up because of those threats, you don't have First Amendment rights. So if anybody is out there watching this and is like, well, I don't know, I've never been to a protest, or I'm hearing a lot of gnarly stuff from this regime and maybe I won't come out, let me tell you, it's going to be fun, it's going to be powerful, and it's going to be part of history.
So moms and grandmas, kids and dogs, human shields for violent revolutionaries, security training, de-escalation briefings. This isn't a protest. It's a paramilitary operation disguised as a family picnic. And they can't even say no kings without inventing new names because they know how anti-American their message sounds. And this Saturday, they're planning the most American thing since apple pie. You know, except real Americans don't coordinate with cartels putting bounties on federal agents' heads. So if you guys got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this Saturday, they're coming for your republic in 4,000 locations and millions of people in the street, all coordinated by the same monsters who put bounties on federal agents' heads. And they're calling it no kings. But what they mean is no Trump, no America, and no Constitution. And Virginia Democrat Jay Jones wants Republicans' children's dead. They're not that's not even hyperbole. He texted it. He put it in writing. 2 bullets for the speaker, death for cops, and murder for kids. And this is their true face when the mask slips. Mao used students, Castro used revolutionaries. Now Democrats are using Antifa dressed as cartoon characters while the Treasury tracks their blood money. And every organic protest has matching signs, identical equipment, military precision, and Soros is writing the checks. And Democrats, they're providing cover, and the media is calling it democracy. And we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic, but they're calling it a democracy while they plan your destruction. So here's my question for you in the chat. When protesters openly coordinate with cartels to kill federal agents, is it time to deploy the military? Let me know yes or no. So this is insurrection disguised as protest. They're betting you won't fight back and prove them wrong. Check out our merch shop. All right, guys, I'm back here. So we got a couple super chats that came in. Let's see what's going on. Let me click over to it. I'm still learning how to use the computer. We got Jody Lo Dolce. You're doing great, Tom. Who in their right mind would believe that there's no Antifa? They've been around for 4 years. You have to be dense to believe that. You guys remember the summer of love where everybody on the news was praising how good Antifa was doing out there and why we all need to be more like Antifa, and they're burning cities down, but yet they were saying it was mostly peaceful. Well, you know, businesses were being destroyed. People's lives were being ruined because of Antifa. Billions and billions of dollars in property damage directly tied back to Antifa and George Soros and all the pallets of bricks that mysteriously showed up everywhere. It's funny that hasn't happened since USAID got canceled, and never call it USAID. We had Rio Darte de Andrea just became a member. Welcome to it. Make sure you get inside the Discord chat. Pothead Kenny and a bunch of other people are in there every night. And usually after I cover, I'll jump in and chit chat with you guys and jump onto it. It depends on how long my drive is getting back. From Shuryo Gospel says, don't expect any mercy tonight. We got quite a few people. Yeah, no, we're definitely not in the thing of giving these guys any slack anytime ever. What's that, Brian? I missed you. Oh, yeah, some gifted subs. We got Spicy Tink gifted a membership to Duplicate. That's very nice, Spicy Disaster. Thank you for that. You guys keep those super chats and everything going. Oh, sorry. I'm looking back through. Duplicate gifted the subs. 5 memberships. Thank you, Duplicate. I'm sorry about that. I'm still learning what the different buttons mean over here, so I'm getting through it. Pothead Kenny, finally get to see you, brother. We missed you yesterday, and I'm glad you guys are in it. You and Mrs. Pothead Kenny are back in tonight. We've got 4756, do you know the way? We got JT Bang. They will love their mostly peaceful prison sentence. With Trump in office, they're not playing around. I think they should be getting mostly, well, maybe less than peaceful prison sentences for what they're doing to our country. They're trying to overthrow us, and they're trying to get rid of America, and that's plain and simple. There's no other way around it. Hit a button. Sorry about that. All right, I'm ready on the next one if you are, Brian. Time for Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act from Holiday Statistic. I could not agree more. I'm ready when you are. So Jack Smith is running scared. The butcher who tried to jail Trump for exposing the swamp just got hit with Jim Jordan's subpoena from hell. Illegal surveillance of senators, evidence planting at Mar-a-Lago, stealing medical records, and violating attorney-client privilege. And every crime has his fingerprints on it. Now he's touring law schools, desperately trying to rewrite history before the handcuffs come off. So too late. Every word out of his mouth becomes evidence, and every excuse exposes another felony. And the special counsel who thought he was above the law is about to learn what real accountability looks like. And his deep state protectors can't save him now. The hunt is on. Keep watching. So as many investors have seen recently, exploration companies are looking south. With U.S. policy becoming friendlier towards domestic supply of critical metals, U.S. copper prices have soared after recent threats of a 50% import tariff, highlighting the value of domestic sources. Could District Copper Corp be lining up for that kind of role? The company recently secured a U.S. market listing, and that move alone points to a bigger vision ahead. District Copper is advancing its copper projects, positioning itself as a gateway for supplying the copper that powers U.S. infrastructure, clean energy, and advanced technology. With copper hitting 16-month highs, rising supply demands, and growing uncertainty due to the potential closure of one of the world's largest copper mines in Indonesia, domestic production is more important than ever. Against this backdrop, and with a new U.S. listing, District Copper Corp could be setting the stage for further growth and potential expansion into key U.S. states renowned for strategic minerals. The company is building its future around one of the most essential metals of our time, positioning itself for what comes next. Check them out in the link in the description, and thank you to District Copper Corp for making today's video possible. So Jim Jordan just issued a congressional subpoena that exposes Jack Smith's entire criminal operation. We've been waiting for this, guys. This is what I voted for. So look at this letter. It's a roadmap of prosecutorial corruption and partisan prosecutions, evidence manipulation, illegal raids, and we learn Smith's team tracked private communications of sitting Republican senators. It's insane. And CNN could not hide their panic as they listed all the criminals now under investigation. Watch this host stutter as reality hits. Check it out.
Who's next here? Because there, of course, have been kind of lists out, and as Scott pointed out, the president freely talks about a lot of the people that he wants to go after. So here are some people that are under investigation right now. John Bolton, John Brennan, Lisa Cook, of course, Federal Reserve, Chris Krebs, Adam Schiff, Jack Smith, Miles Taylor. The public calls to investigate Reid Hoffman, Mark Milley, George Soros, Fonnie Willis, Chris Wray. This is quite an array of people. Scott Jennings, one person we've heard about is John Bolton, although it sounds like that investigation may have begun under the Biden administration.
Yeah, that started under Biden. And from what I read in the newspaper, they did find classified material, according to the reporting, in his house. And so I don't know if he...
Yeah, he was holding on to stacks and stacks and piles of classified documents. That's John Bolton, guys. Also under investigation is Brennan, Schiff, Smith, Soros, Fannie Willis, the whole corrupt cabal. There are hundreds more who need indicting. And Senator Ron Johnson reveals a shocking truth about Smith's surveillance operation. This wasn't his first time being targeted by a weaponized FBI. Take a look.
This doesn't surprise me, but it should shock every American of what the Biden administration has done. By the way, this is the first time I was targeted by the FBI. Under the Obama administration, the same thing happened to both Senator Grassley and I. As part of the Foreign Influence Task Force, we were giving a briefing to try and convince us that the Hunter Biden laptop was no big deal. Basically, they're trying to throw us off the track. So this is major corruption.
He said it, major corruption. And guess who it started under? Barack Obama. It's the same playbook. Target Republicans, protect Democrats, and weaponize justice. Does that sound familiar? And Eric Trump exposes the depth of Smith's criminality. They planted evidence, seized privileged documents, and violated every law in their desperation to destroy our favorite president, Donald Trump. Take a look.
I told the FBI this day one. Come on, come down to the basement of Trump Tower, see if we have any secret servers. There was not. Yet they let that lie perpetuate for a 3-year period of time. So one greedy person at first could get a couple extra votes. That was Hillary Clinton, right? And then when she was beaten so bad by a bunch of people, including myself, that didn't know what a damn delegate was, didn't know what the Iowa caucuses were, because that was never the world that we were in, it allowed her to save a little face, saying that there was some foreign actor who otherwise intervened, which is the only reason she lost. It was a sham, and the entire world knows it was a sham, and there's been no consequences. There's no consequences when she deleted 33,000 emails. There's no consequences when, I mean, these are the biggest criminals in the world. Back to Jack Smith, he was planting classified folders on my father's office at Mar-a-Lago. They took his medical records. They took his legal documents, protected by attorney-client privilege. They took everything. They broke every single law in their attempt to try and destroy the man's life, and they lost. And they lost in an embarrassing fashion, and I could not be more proud.
What they did to the Trump family is one of the most worst things ever imaginable. They tried to destroy Trump. They tried to destroy his kids. They tried to destroy every single person around him. They arrested his attorneys. They planted classified folders at Mar-a-Lago. They stole medical records. They took, they were taking attorney-client privilege documents. These are felonies. This is not prosecutorial discretion. And Lindsey Graham won't let this go. Smith surveilled him and 7 other senators while they were doing their constitutional duty. Watch.
So I'm doing my job. These other senators were doing their job. I'm going to do everything under my power to find out what happened. And if it takes a lawsuit to prevent this in the future, I will bring it. It's a chilling moment when a rogue special counsel who's politicized to the core was trying to find out who I was calling and why I was calling them as a sitting United States senator doing my job. We're not going to let this go.
He was a rogue special counsel, politicized to the core. He was tracking senators' phone calls. This is Watergate like on steroids. As Senator Haggerty reveals the pattern, Obama's FBI surveilled the Trump transition team. Biden's FBI surveilled sitting senators. Watch how angry he is. I was going to say swear words. Take a look.
Senator Haggerty.
Thank you, Senator Johnson. And Chairman Grassley, thank you for your leadership in making this happen. This is an extraordinary revelation that just took place this afternoon. My colleagues and I found out, all of us Republicans, by the way, that we were placed under investigation by this FBI, under the Joe Biden FBI that was led, I presume, by Jack Smith and his predecessors. This isn't the first time that it's happened, though. Senator Johnson just mentioned this. I served on the Trump transition team in Trump Tower in 2016. Senator Blackburn was vice chair of the transition committee then, as were probably a dozen or more members of Congress. To think that we were surveilled by the Obama FBI. This corruption runs deep, and it's gone on for far too long. And the fact that it's happened here again, the fact that they are looking at our records in 2023, sitting members of the United States Senate. Again, the only thing that we have in common, the only thing in common in this entire list.
I'm going to cut him off for 1 second. Let me know in the comments how many of you knew this was happening the entire time. We all knew this. We knew they were doing this. Everything seemed too perfect. It seemed like they knew everything that was going on in the background because they did. They put people in places to try to destroy an incoming president, and they literally overthrew his first administration.
Is that we're all Republicans. Yeah. They've decided to come after us. This is as partisan as it gets. The FBI and the corruption that's running there has to be cleared out. Thank God we have Kash Patel and Dan Bongino there. This has to be addressed. It has to be resolved. It needs to happen today.
The only thing we have in common is that we are all Republicans. This is partisan warfare using the justice system as a weapon. And yet people on CNN will sit there and say Trump is doing the same thing. They're out of their minds. Now watch Smith on his damage control tour, trying to pretend that he cares about expendious prosecution and the rule of law. Garbage. Take a look.
There is black letter, unopposed in any way, Supreme Court precedent that says moving cases forward expeditiously is not just it's not just the defendant's right to a speedy trial. The public has an interest in the expeditious prosecution of cases, and we said that the courts agreed with us. The district court agreed with us. The appellate court agreed with us. Even the Supreme Court, that didn't expedite the case as much as we wanted to, they did expedite it.
So he's admitting rushing Trump's case, caring more about speed than justice. And the public's interest? No. The deep state interest in election interference. And here's Smith's twist logic to justify his two-tier justice system and why Biden is walking free while Trump gets prosecuted. Watch.
The difference is the facts. The rule of law allows for different outcomes when the facts are different. One of the major differences between the two cases is the obstructive conduct in the case that I investigated. And that's important for a couple of different reasons. One reason is to prove illegal possession of classified documents. You need to show that you possess the documents, or the defendant possessed the documents willfully. And that means he knew what he was doing was wrong, and he knew he was possessing.
What he forgets is that the president can declassify any document at any time. He has the ultimate say-so when it comes to what's classified and when it isn't. So he's trying to prosecute Trump for something he declassified before he left office with it. Biden then put out something saying, oh no, we're actually going to reclassify those, making it a crime for Trump. Then they took away his, his ability to say presidential immunity. It's disgusting.
Possessing the documents. In my particular case, we had tons of evidence of willfulness. We had, and the obstructive evidence, publicly saying these are my documents or things like that, and I can keep them. The evidence to not give the documents back when the government even tried to get them back before there was a criminal investigation. Those sort of things, and then after the investigation started, still refusing to give them back, and then trying to obstruct the investigation. That helps prove willfulness. That sort of evidence didn't exist in the other case. And there are, I could probably keep you all here for a long time talking about the differences in terms of, the numbers are not, I want to make sure I get this pretty close to right, but almost 4 times as many documents that the person I was investigating compared to the other case.
I love how he says the person I was investigating. We all know who you're talking about, dude. Come on, cut the crap.
The sensitivity of the documents. I think Special Counsel Hur said that the documents that he most likely could bring a prosecution on were over 15 years old and dealt exclusively with the conflict that had ended in Afghanistan.
Yeah, but he also said that Biden was too inept to stand trial because he was an old, frail old man that was feeble of the mind while he was a sitting president of the United States. God, these people are psychotic.
As we alleged in our indictment, the documents I was dealing with were much more sensitive and much more recent, and we laid out the sort of subject areas, those sensitive subject areas in the indictment. So there were a number of differences between the case, and that is what the rule of law wants, is to have situations where different factual outcomes, different levels of proof can result in different outcomes. And that's what I think happened here.
So I'm going to translate that last statement for you. He said different outcomes for different facts. Translation, different rules for different parties. One standard for Democrats, another standard for Republicans. And guess who always goes to jail? The Republicans. And this clip exposes Smith's complete hypocrisy. He warns against outcome-driven prosecutions while running the most outcome-driven witch hunt in bleeping history. Take a look.
A lot of people think this is boring, but process is the great protection of individual rights. Do we have processes? And are they administered equally for everyone?
We have those when people take politics out of it, and we don't have Democrats who are insane prosecutors that George Soros funded and stuck into office so they can run their communist takeover of our country. That's when it's fair, not what you're doing right now.
So do you have a right to counsel? Do you have a right to put on a
Trump had a right to counsel, but you arrested all of his freaking attorneys.
Defense. Can you appeal the decision? And then are the laws being applied to you the same way they're being applied to everybody else? That's challenging with rich and powerful people the world over. But on one end of the spectrum, you can go back to Stalin's trials of the Bolsheviks, right up to the trial of Alexei Navalny. Right?
And they'll have Jack Smith's trials of the Trumps. It's going to be right up there with Bolshevik and all those psychopaths.
Right? That the outcome was predetermined. And
just like in your trial.
As a prosecutor, the role we play in a case is making sure that the choice to bring a case is not predetermined. The judges.
I mean, he's trying to set up his own defense in court or something. This guy is out of his mind, lying through his teeth. He looks like a skeleton or something sitting there. It's insane.
Or the juries in certain jurisdictions will decide the outcome. But as a prosecutor, when you take on a case, there should not be a predetermined outcome. That's one of the really wonderful things about a career as a prosecutor.
Unless your name is Jack Smith or Letitia James. I'll stop cutting it. I'm sorry.
Is you have to be able to build something, and if you find as you're building it that it's not righteous, that's the way it goes. And so I think making sure processes are applied equally, that is critical, and it's a good way for you to measure if something is legitimate or not. If you see someone who is driven by an outcome, and they're going to get that outcome no matter what, should be very suspicious of that, whether it's as a prosecutor or a judge.
So be very suspicious of prosecutors driven by outcomes. He just described himself. Tell me that in the comments. Do you agree? He just described himself for like 10 minutes. This is a confession disguised as a lecture. And Smith opposed cameras in Trump's trial, and I wonder why. Watch him squirm while explaining his fear of transparency. Take a look.
Yeah, and so I've worked in different jurisdictions, and I'm familiar with different jurisdictions who've answered that question a number of different ways. In the federal courts in the U.S., they're not permitted. In a lot of state courts, they are permitted. In international courts, it's interesting. They do a different thing where you might live stream the proceedings, but for certain witnesses or their identity of the witnesses, that's not public. They sort of do it piece by piece. In some child abuse cases or domestic violence cases, I've seen it be public except for that.
Then where were you on Hunter Biden? He had all sorts of crazy stuff on his laptop, and you guys gave him a freaking pardon.
For me, and we oppose there being cameras in the courtroom in the investigation and the trials or the cases I had as special counsel, because my problem with it is I think that's something, I want it to be transparent as possible, and I think
I almost can't even listen to this guy anymore. He's just lying. He's just, it's so insane. Like, he believes the words coming out of his own mouth. He thinks he had to have been sitting there in the mirror talking to himself to make him believe the BS. To Letitia James, who campaigned on arresting Trump, Jack Smith was right next to her doing the whole thing the entire time. But he's sitting here trying to BS whoever this guy with the pony man bun thing is. And we're not buying it.
People behave differently when there's cameras, and it affects the witnesses. I think there's more of an argument maybe for it in situations where there aren't witnesses testifying, but I think I am concerned that it changes how people behave in the court, and that's a difficulty. But I do understand why people want to do that, and as I said, it's happened in some jurisdictions. I just have a concern about that, about how it affects how people behave in the proceedings.
When he said he wants it as transparent as possible, but no cameras, people behave differently. Yeah, Jack, it's like following the law when America is watching, especially if something of that magnitude. And watch Smith preach about following court opinions while he twisted every law he could to target Trump, his family, and his allies. Take a look.
We followed it. There was never a question that we were going to follow the law as the Supreme Court said the law now was. And I think that's really important to understand, because I think once we get in a position where we start talking about maybe not following court opinions we don't like, we are lost in terms of the rule of law. And so
we followed the law as the Supreme Court said, except when he didn't, every day. And this is gaslighting coming from the man who invented new interpretations of law just to prosecute his political enemies, the Trump family and his allies. And Andrew Weissman reveals Smith's deep state pedigree. He was handpicked and groomed by the establishment to be their attack dog. Take a look.
As I mentioned, Jack started his career as an assistant district attorney. That's at the state level.
Okay, let me know in the comments how many people thought he would say and talk exactly the way he's talking right now with the man bun and everything. I pictured his voice sounding like this, and he didn't disappoint. I just can't wait for whatever he's got to say.
In New York for the revered and legendary Robert Morgenthau. He then joined the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of New York. That is where I also started my prosecutorial career, and as both of us know, it's all downhill after that. In the Eastern District of New York is, I think, everybody who is a federal prosecutor will say the best job you've ever had. But you went on to many great things after that. You went to Main Justice, as I mentioned, where you were the head of the public integrity section that either handles or
he was head of the public integrity section? Oh, God, he screwed that pedigree up.
Oversees all of the public corruption cases in the United States.
Well, he should add his name to the people that's going to be investigated. From Manhattan DA Morgenthau to head of public integrity of all things. I can't even get through that without laughing. His entire career was built on policing political enemies. And this is who they chose to take Trump down. Here's Smith claiming politics play no role in his prosecution. The lies, they're breathtaking. Watch.
The idea that politics would play a role in big cases like this, it's absolutely ludicrous, and it's totally contrary to my experience as a prosecutor. From the time I was a junior prosecutor, when I started out, if I had told my boss at the DA's office, "Hey, I've got this case, and I was going to bring it, but I just found out that the guy is a friend of the DA, so maybe we could find a way not to bring it," or if I said, "Hey, I wasn't going to bring this case because it's not a legitimate case on the facts and law, but I saw that he was an enemy of the DA and maybe we shouldn't bring it," my boss, my first boss, he would have tossed me out a window.
So he sat there with a straight face and said that the idea that politics played a role is ludicrous. This is from the same man running the most political prosecution in American history. His boss would toss him out a window. Who, Obama? I don't even think Obama could pick up a 10-pound weight, let alone his wife. Anyways, they gave him a medal. So finally watched Smith complain about his team being fired while revealing the purge culture inside Biden's Department of Justice. Take a look.
If you don't know, everybody who worked on my team was fired, not just the lawyers, but the administrative staff as well. I think these are people who have spent their careers sacrificing for the communities they want to protect for our country. Yeah,
and you ruined all of those good people's careers. They were all good people until you came in and politicized it and ruined their careers. You did that, Smith.
Really upset that people like that not only are being vilified, but that it's hard to get their stories out of who they are. Because I think the way we communicate with each other right now, it's very hard to tell a narrative. Because if you saw the narratives of some of these people, I mean, they're just briefly, there's an agent who worked on our case, who served our country overseas, multiple combat tours, decades as an FBI agent, fired days after his wife died of cancer.
An FBI agent who served combat tours fired day after his wife died of cancer. This is how they treat anyone who might question their corruption. That was intentional, folks. The entire team was purged, lawyers, staff, and everybody. So if you got value from this report, please tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So Jack Smith is finished. Every clip from his pathetic speaking tour is another nail in his coffin. He spied on senators like a common criminal. He planted evidence like a dirty cop. And he stole privileged documents like a thief. And he even fired a combat veteran whose wives were dying of cancer. This isn't just corruption, it's pure evil. And Jim Jordan's subpoena is just the beginning. Every Republican senator he tracked, every phone call he monitored, every law he broke, it's all evidence now. He thought being special counsel made him untouchable. He thought the deep state would protect him forever. Well, guess what? He was wrong, and Daddy Trump, he's back home. The establishment groomed him from day one. Morgenthau to public integrity of all places, to special counsel, all built to destroy political enemies. Now, he's the enemy. So here's my question to you in the chat. Should Jack Smith face life in prison for his crimes against the Republic? Yes or no? And the tables have turned. The prosecutor becomes the prosecuted. Justice is coming, and check out our merch in the description below. Who caught my thing about Obama's husband, wife, or whatever? That was pretty close. I almost said that one on video. That was bad. We're gonna get to the chats. You know, that was. I mean, that guy with the bun. He sounded exactly like I expected him to sound. Like he opened his mouth, and I almost like busted out laughing. I had to mute myself for a second. It was pretty bad. We're gonna jump into some comments. We got the one and only Ron. He says, "Yes, he does sound like Bill Gates." That's true. Man. Sorry, what was that, Brian? Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you, guys. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I'm hitting bad buttons. Uh-oh. I suck at this. We got gift memberships. Where we got? We got from Barbara Lessman, says, beaming face with smiling eyes. Thank you, guys. We're trying our best to keep it fun tonight, and have a great time. I appreciate all the super chats. Keep them coming, guys. It helps keep the show going and keeps everybody alive here. So I appreciate that. I'm going to jump back down here. So what we got? Yeah, after a while, they all sound like Bill Gates. I think they're all eating the fake meat from Bill Gates and those guys. We've got Annie. Annie Runningwood says, hi, Tom. Hey, Annie. How are you? Nice to see you. We got somebody saying dead. Was it at the Obama comment? You know, that was, we got Tyson Curry saying his sound like his man bits haven't dropped yet. That's hilarious. It did sound pretty bad. It's like his Grindr profile is about to be exposed on TV or something. All right, I'm ready for the next topic, Brian, whenever you are. All right, they shut down your government while funding transgender programs in the Balkans. And while American families can't visit national museums, Democrats are demanding $24 million for Honduras climate programs. All this while food stamp recipients worry about running out of money. And they want millions for feminist organizing in Africa. This isn't about budget negotiations, it's about priorities. And their priorities, they're crystal clear. Illegal immigrants over citizens, foreign countries over America, and radical ideology over basic services. The most revealing part of this whole thing, they're doing this during Trump's greatest foreign policy triumph. They can't stand his success, so they're punishing you. Watch what I'm about to show you. As many investors have seen recently, exploration companies are looking south. With U.S. policy becoming friendlier towards domestic supply of critical metals, U.S. copper prices have soared after recent threats of a 50% import tariff, highlighting the value of domestic sources. And could District Copper Corp be lining up that kind of role? The company recently secured a U.S. market listing, and that move alone points to a bigger vision ahead. And District Copper is advancing its copper projects, positioning itself as a gateway for supplying the copper that powers U.S. infrastructure clean energy, and advanced technology. With copper hitting a 16-month high, rousing supply demands, and growing uncertainty due to the potential closure of one of the world's largest copper mines in Indonesia, domestic production is more important than ever. Against this backdrop, and with a new U.S. listing, District Copper Corp could be setting the stage for further growth and potential expansion into key U.S. states renowned for strategic minerals. The company is building its future around one of the most essential metals of our time, positioning itself for what comes next. Check them out in the link in the description, and thank you to District Copper Corp for making today's video possible. So CNN just exposed Hakeem Jeffries, dollar store Obama's pathetic excuse for the shutdown. And watch him squirm when he's called out for refusing to walk down the hall to negotiate. Check this out.
Meetings, no discussions. Donald Trump has held them back from even having a meaningful engagement to try to find
You're
common
right down
ground.
the hall from Mike Johnson's office. I know exactly where you are. You could probably take a few steps and go knock on the door and talk to him. Have you tried that?
Speaker Johnson hasn't been given permission to have a conversation with me or Leader Schumer, and he said as much earlier today.
So you don't think he would talk to you at all?
We can have a conversation, but the problem is that until they get the green light to actually have a meaningful discussion to try to find common ground and a bipartisan path forward and a willingness to address the damage that Republicans have done to the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people, then of course any informal discussion is going to be not fruitful.
So Speaker Johnson hasn't been given permission? Like, permission from who? He's the Speaker of the House. And this is what Democrat leadership looks like, paralyzed by the radical base. And Democrat Representative Madeleine Dean is outraged that Trump's keeping our troops paid during the shutdown. Like, it's insane. Listen to her utter insanity. Watch.
How do you feel about these paychecks going out during the shutdown? I don't think anyone's opposed to people being paid, but people look at this.
Okay, before she gets into it, she looks like the final boss of Karens. All she needs is like the poofy hair and like a poodle or something, and it'll be perfect. It's going to be just anticipate the voice. Watch.
This could actually extend the shutdown because it takes out some of the pressure points that might exist that would lead Democrats and Republicans to come together.
Oh, you know what? Of course I want our military paid. Of course I want federal law enforcement officers to be paid. There's a way to do that. I'm an appropriator. We should have passed appropriations bills. There's a way to run a government, and this is not the way to run a government.
Yeah, just vote for the bill then. This is not the way you run the government, she said. She's angry that military families aren't going to suffer. Think about that. She wants troops to miss paychecks to create pressure. And Speaker Johnson just exposed the Democrats' insane demands. This list is going to blow your mind. This is what they're shutting down the government for. Take a look.
And they would send $500 million to liberal news outlets by refunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It would.
I will say, if they're sending money to news corporations, just buy a couple memberships for the people in the chat, guys. If they're handing money out like that.
Also restore up to $5 billion of American taxpayer funds for wasteful spending for international projects. Here's a couple of examples. This is in their legislation, their counterproposal on the CR to keep the lights open. This is what they want to do. They want to spend $24.6 million of your hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa. And $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. We are not doing that.
I mean, $24 million for Honduras climate. Climate resilience? Aren't they like a jungle out there? I don't know. $13 million for Zimbabwe's civic engagement, $4 million for the alphabet soup TQ stuff, democracy in the Balkans, $3 million for desert locusts. Your government is closed so they can fund feminist organizations in Africa. Steve Scalise exposed the real reason Schumer's keeping the government shut. It's not about budget negotiations. It's about appeasing the radical mob planning this weekend's protest. Take a look.
Even during a time where the contrast of Chuck Schumer throwing a temper tantrum here at home just to appease the most radical elements of his base. so that on the 18th, when they have the Hate America rally that everybody knows is coming, and that everybody knows Chuck Schumer needs to deliver a shutdown government to them to appease them. Well, how about you think about us? How about you think about those families?
So he said Chuck Schumer needs to deliver a shutdown government to appease them. There it is. Plain as day. The shutdown isn't about policy. It's payment to the Hate America crowd gathering on the 18th. Schumer's holding American families hostage to please the radicals. And Democrats unveiled their new strategy, scare Republicans by threatening to fire more federal bureaucrats. And watch this theatrical performance. Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, every authoritarian leader has had his grim reaper. Russell Vogt is Donald Trump's grim reaper. Trump even posted a bizarre video describing Vogt in those terms. That's who he wanted, a grim reaper. Grim is defined in the dictionary as sinister, savage, and ferocious. A trauma causer. Reaper is defined that which is used to cut down. Vogt swings his scythe through the federal government as thoughtlessly and dangerously as Elon Musk and the Doge children did with their chainsaws. The effect, sadly, has been the same. Great damage to the government, the American people, and the morale, psychological well-being, and efficiency of the patriotic American workers we call federal workers who serve them.
Russell Vought is Trump's grim reaper. They're terrified that someone might actually cut government waste. Good. Every patriotic Americans should celebrate fewer bureaucrats. And Secretary Burgum drops truth bombs about what this shutdown really means for America while China races ahead in AI development. Watch.
Well, yes, and maybe Schumer and the Democrats haven't noticed, but China isn't taking the month off. They have not shut down their government. We're in an AI arms race. You've had a number of folks on today, as you should, because one of the biggest things in the market is this incredible amount of spending that's going on CapEx for us to help win the AI arms race with China. We need to have that private sector spending, investing in power generation, in chips, and in AI factories. All of that has to happen.
They need to focus on the power generating part because our energy prices are going through the roof. If I could say one thing to Secretary Burgum is that make more power plants. We're tired of paying more money for the same energy. Let me know in the comments if you agree.
And all of that, again, we're fighting everything we can do with the people that we're working through the National Energy Dominance Council to keep permitting going, to keep these deals going, to keep that spending going. We have to. But again, it's like the Democrats are hurting us on the world stage, and they're hurting us at home economically with this shutdown.
So let's get this part clear, guys. China is not shutting down. They're not taking a month off from the AI arms race, and Democrats are sabotaging American competitiveness to protect their radical agenda. And real Americans are suffering. Food stamp and recipients in Arizona face empty carts if Democrats don't stop their games. Watch.
Bad news for the 1 million people getting food stamps here in Arizona. A new report from Axios says the federal program will run out of money if the D.C. standoff rolls into next month. That means tens of thousands cutting back on meals and other vital expenses to make their money last until the government is up and running again.
So 1 million Arizonans on food stamps will run out of money. Tens of thousands cutting meals. All because Democrats want to fund foreign gender programs? Oh, I guess that makes sense. And the Smithsonian Museums and the National Zoo, they're closed. Watch families turned away from institutions that their tax dollars are paying for. Watch.
Big disappointment for folks visiting Washington. A lot of people hit town. They want to go to the National Zoo. They want to go to the Smithsonian Museums. But you can see the sign we have here on the front gate. It says all Smithsonian Museums and the National Zoo are closed. That, of course, because of the government shutdown. Now,
they should send their hotel bills and their airline tickets over to Chuck Schumer's office so they could be reimbursed for their expenses on their trips.
Smithsonians were able to stay open longer than some other things around town because they had previous year funds left over. However, that money has now run out, so the zoo and the museums are closed for the remainder of the shutdown. Now, what does this mean for the animals? Don't worry, the keepers will continue to feed and care for the animals behind the scenes. The zoo itself, though, to visitors closed. Now, those live stream animal cameras, including the popular Panda Cam, they are no longer on either. They're not broadcasting because they require federal resources to operate. What about special events? If the shutdown drags on, things like Boo at the Zoo and yoga with the Siamangs at Gibbon Ridge, those events will be canceled. Now, you can get a refund or you can convert your ticket costs into a donation to animal conservation programs, but those events, if this drags on, will not happen. So a big disappointment for a lot of people. You hit Washington, you want to see the sights, and these are big ones.
You know who I'm disappointed in? I'm disappointed in the Democrats who shut down the government for the locusts and the alphabet soup stuff instead of letting families go to the places we pay for anyways. The Panda Cam is off. Special events are canceled. But hey, you know, if Zimbabwe gets their like civil engagement funding or whatever the heck it is, this is the Democrat Party's priority just laid bare. They'll shut down services for American citizens to fund radical programs overseas. They'll make military families worry about paychecks to score political points. And they're going to close our museums while sending billions of dollars to liberal news outlets through the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. So if you got value from this report, please tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is economic warfare against the American people. Democrats shut down your government to protect illegal immigrant health care while your families can't visit the Smithsonian. They demand millions of dollars for transgender programs in foreign countries while food stamp recipients wonder how they'll eat next month. And $24 million for Honduras climate schemes while American veterans wait in line at closed federal offices. The timing is not coincidental. Trump just brokered the historic peace in the Middle East, and Democrats can't stand the success. So they're going to punish, guess who? You guys. They hold military paychecks hostage. They close national parks, and they threaten food assistance for people who desperately need it. All to fund desert locust research in Africa and feminist organizing overseas. And let's not forget the insurance for the illegal immigrants. So here's my question. Should foreign aid be completely banned until every American government service is fully funded? Let me know yes or no in the comments. And never forget that this is your money funding the radical agenda while you suffer. And remember this betrayal. And don't forget to check out our merch shop and show them we will never forget. All right, guys, who doesn't want to give some money to like locusts in Africa or whatever? It's insane. It's insane. Any super chats coming, Bri? Let me looking. Keep those super chats going tonight, guys. All right. So we got Don't Expect Mercy tonight. It's going to be fun. Eat the bugs. Yeah, they want you to eat the bugs, guys. They don't want you to even eat real food anymore. They want you to eat bugs and be happy. They want you to own nothing and be happy. Never forget that. And they want people to not be able to go on vacation to Washington, D.C. because guess what? It's safe. Trump made D.C. safe again. So what do they not want people to do? Come to D.C. where it's all closed. It makes perfect sense now. And Russ Bischoff said, God bless all of our military service members, police officers, ICE officers, first responders, the families, and those that paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country and the American people. Beautiful words, Russ Bischoff. Amazing. And yeah, it's cold and raining. Love it. I guess hopefully wherever you're at, it's got to be nice. Russ again with another great comment. Leon Cyber, the Australian government are pushing for the same stuff. Look at the Chinese CCP over Australia. And I think it's insane that so OpenAI comes in and we've been buying like the energy efficient light bulbs and the energy efficient appliances, and our energy is going way down on how much we're using at home, but our prices are going through the roof. I wonder if the Trump administration, if you're watching right now, would possibly be able to do something about that. Please, we would all appreciate that so much. And, you know, lower bills would be great. Like increase supply, make more nuke plants, do all the right things. We've got, I'll go two more comments. Everything was destroyed through the big pharma got paid. Correct, Heather. Good job. Deb Noble, Bush Sr. was the one who started giving steel worker jobs to China. Oh, you got to say China, how you spelled it. Good job, Deb. And we have Richard Winiger saying, my family never voted for communists, the stupid crats. Awesome work. And yeah, I'm ready for the next one if you guys are. All right. He did what they said was impossible. Yet again, while Democrats shut down the government over transgender programs in the Balkans, Trump just secured peace in the Middle East. And Hamas, they're disarming. Hostages are coming home. Arab nations are lining up behind America. And even Chris Cuomo had to applaud. But here's what really has the establishment terrified. This isn't just about Gaza. Trump's using this victory to corner China on Ukraine, revolutionize global energy markets, and restore American dominance worldwide. And world leaders are organizing to nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. The man they tried to destroy now is the most powerful leader on earth. And let me show you how he did it. As many investors have seen recently, exploration companies are looking south. With U.S. policy becoming friendlier toward domestic supply of critical metals, U.S. copper prices have soared after recent threats of a 50% import tariff, highlighting the value of domestic sources. Could District Copper Corp be lining up for that kind of role? The company recently secured a U.S. market listing, and that move alone has points to a bigger vision ahead. And District Copper is advancing its copper projects, positioning itself as a gateway for supplying the copper that powers U.S. infrastructure, clean energy, and advanced technology. With copper hitting 16-month highs, rising supply demands, and growing uncertainty due to the potential closure of one of the world's largest mines in Indonesia, domestic production is more important than ever. Against this backdrop, and with a new U.S. listing, District Copper Corp could be setting the stage for further growth and potential expansion into key U.S. states renowned for strategic minerals. The company is building its future around one of the most essential metals of our time, positioning itself for what comes next. Check them out in the link in the description, and thank you to District Copper Corp for making today's video possible. So Trump just delivered the ultimatum that changes everything. Watch him tell Hamas exactly what's going to happen. He didn't negotiate. He didn't even compromise. It was just pure American strength. Watch.
Mr. President, on Gaza, how long will it take Hamas to disarm, and can you guarantee that is going to happen?
Well, they're going to disarm, and because they said they were going to disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
How will you do that?
I don't have to explain that to you. But if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. They know I'm not playing games. Okay? Now, we did something monumental. We got the hostages back. That was the first thing we had to do. Above all else, get the hostages back. Now, they misrepresented because we were told they had 26, 24 of dead hostages, if we can use those terms. And it seems as though they don't have that because we're talking about a much lesser number. But that's a very tough subject. I want them back. That's what they said. I want them back. Also, they said they were going to disarm. And initially speaking, they needed, they did take out a couple of gangs that were very bad, very, very bad gangs. And they did take them out. And they killed a number of gang members. And that didn't bother me much, to be honest with you. That's okay. We had a couple of very bad gangs. It's no different than other countries. Like Venezuela sent their gangs into us, and we took care of those gangs. We have Washington, D.C. is one of the safest cities in the country. It was one of the worst cities in the country if you go back just a little while ago, right? Now it's safe. You can walk to work. Isn't it nice? But we have told them we want to disarm, and they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. But they will disarm. Do you understand me?
Yes, you say
because everyone says, oh, well, they won't disarm. They will disarm. And I spoke to Hamas, and I said, you're going to disarm, right? Yes, sir, we're going to disarm. That's what they told me. They will disarm or we will disarm them. Got it?
I absolutely love the backbone of President Trump. He said they will disarm or we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently, in the way Trump says it. And that's not diplomacy, guys. That's victory through strength. And even Chris Cuomo couldn't hide his amazement. Watch this stunning moment where he applauds Trump and torches the left for refusing to give him credit. Take a look.
First, the easy part. I didn't think it was going to happen. Bravo to America. Bravo to the Trump administration.
Okay, let me know in the comments. I thought it was going to happen. I just, I was hoping it would be sooner, but, Trump knocked it out of the park yet again. Let me know if you guys agree that we all knew Trump was going to secure this victory.
Bravo to President Trump, especially something I really didn't expect. what I thought was just going to be a regular Trump victory lap. He brought in so many countries to celebrate this. Why? Because they made it happen? Nope. But because he needs them to make what needs to happen next happen. Very smart. Very smart. Now, why is that hard to say? Because in our politics, you cannot recognize the other side. It is like saying Hitler has a nice haircut. You can't do it. And that's why we're dying. That is the poison. Not here. Not News Nation. Here, we do not take a side. I attack the idea of sides.
So you cannot recognize the other side. It's like saying Hitler has a nice haircut. And Cuomo admits the poison killing our politics. And Democrats can't acknowledge Trump's triumph. And Bill O'Reilly breaks down the global chess game Trump just won. This isn't about just Gaza. It's about cornering China and ending the Ukraine war. Take a look.
Trump now wins over the entire Arab world. They're all behind the United States. Huge to fight terrorism. But here's the most important point for News Nation viewers tonight. You'll get this nowhere else. Donald Trump's power worldwide has just increased about 1,000%. But he's going to Korea to talk to Xi. Xi and the Chinese know that he has the Arab world and the Middle East on his side. China needs the Middle East, even though they're temporarily buying oil from Russia, okay, and Iran. They need the Middle East. They can't afford to alienate the Arab nations. All right. So Trump's going in with a big advantage, and he's looking at Xi, and he's saying, listen, the whole world is now coalescing around the United States. NATO, EU, Middle East, you got to get on board. You got to stop all this stuff and become a partner with the USA for world peace and prosperity. That's what I did in May. That's why I was in Beijing, to lay that groundwork. If Xi does that, and I believe he will because the Chinese economy is going south faster than New Yorkers are getting out of the city going to Florida, okay? I think she's looking for a way. But part of the negotiation is going to be, you, China, got to get out of the Putin business. Right. OPEC will replace the Russian oil. But you have to stop supporting Putin to end the Ukrainian war. That's the deal that is going to emerge. And that's the importance. It is all linked together.
I'll give you one more. The
China,
Ukraine. I'll give you one more.
So Trump now has the entire Arab world behind America. China needs the Middle Eastern oil. It's plain and simple. The deal is Trump, dump Putin, get OPEC oil, help end Ukraine. It's all masterful. And ABC's chief correspondent can't hide his awe at Trump's command of the world stage. Watch him admit what we're all seeing real time. Take a look.
I think today what I've been mostly struck by is Donald Trump's sheer force of personality. There are not many men, not many leaders who can walk into the Knesset in Israel to such rapturous applause, such a warm welcome, to clearly know so many members of the Israeli leadership.
And it took ABC News 10 years to figure out Trump's got a great personality, wonderful energy, and most people actually like the guy? Come on. You guys geez, come on.
Personally, he's been in the weeds on this, and then less than an hour later, appear in a room of world leaders, Arab and Muslim leaders, and have the same kind of warm welcome. It really is his force of nature which has managed to make this happen. I mean, I was struck that he was standing on that stage here in Sharm el-Sheikh, welcoming world leader after world leader, many of whom he's had his disagreements with, as we know.
Because they know American power and American strength is what's keeping this world together. It's what ABC News, NBC, and all the other BC corporations and the three-letter fake news agencies don't get. We are keeping the world together through strength, Trump's strength, our military strength, and Marco Rubio.
It wasn't President Sisi of Egypt doing that. It was him. He is front and center here. His force of will, he has said what he wants to happen. He's laid out this 20-point plan. The objectives are very clear.
I'm glad he finally said it, that his force of nature made this happen. Walking into the Knesset to rapturous applause and Arab leaders an hour later with the same warm welcome. Nobody else can do this. It's Trump. And I'm not surprised. I knew he can do this because he leads with strength. And Treasury Secretary Bessent calls it the greatest day of the century. And he's right. Watch his powerful testimony. Take a look.
Yesterday, I believe, was the greatest day thus far this century. With the hostages coming home, the beginning of the peace process, which no one said could be done, and President Trump did it. But there were people out there with that venom and vile behavior. And then every Saturday, you look and there are these collegiate football games and military flyovers and people waving the flag, and it's almost like we're in a contest for America. And Charlie was determined that good was going to win. That we were going to see the light, and it was going to be through faith and education and belief in family and country, and everything that got us here for the first 250 years is what's going to take us for the next 250 years.
Scott Bessent just said it perfectly. The greatest day thus far this century. Hostages are home, peace processes have begun, and Trump did what everybody said was impossible. Even establishment foreign policy experts, like, the people that are trying to undermine his administration 24/7, they even admitted Trump deserved this victory lap. Watch this admission. They were saying it through gritted teeth. It's so beautiful. Watch.
I think the president does deserve to take a victory lap, considering what has been accomplished today. The release of the last 20 remaining hostages who were alive, are alive in Gaza. The cessation of hostilities for now, the flowing in of much needed assistance into Gaza. These are important milestones.
Let me know in the comments if you guys appreciate this leftist media outlets actually acknowledging how great of a job our president is doing. And the last 20 hostages were released, hostilities were ceased, aid was flowing, and important milestones, she says. And that's called complete victory, guys. To anybody else, that's complete victory. And Speaker Johnson announces a campaign to give Trump what he deserves, the Nobel Peace Prize. World parliaments are mobilizing. Take a look.
My point when I say I'm not going to be apocalyptic, it's not changing a tune. It's not making every single thing a 5-alarm fire. Yeah. If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say, thank you for doing it. Yeah. She'll knock it right off my head.
Okay, if she does that, we're going to make shirts with her face on it. Please do this. Please.
But you have to be able to cheer for wins when they happen and then call out relentlessly the wrongdoing. Well,
too bad you guys haven't followed that policy for the last 10 years. But anyways, nobody has ever deserved that prize more. That is an objective fact. Saving lives, pursuing peace with determination and success no president has matched. And remember when Alyssa Farah Griffin promised to wear a MAGA hat if Trump got the hostages back? She just said it. But you know what? We're going to maybe play it again tomorrow on a different show. But she promised on The View that one day a MAGA hat to thank Trump. We're waiting, Alyssa. Keep your word. I promise you guys, we're going to make a shirt with it. We're going to put it up on banners, make X posts, and it's going to be wonderful. We're going to have a great time with it. And Patrick Bet David nails why Democrats are losing their minds over Trump's triumph. This is the greatest redemption story in American history. Take a look. Now, give us 1 second. We're loading a clip here.
I think today what I've been mostly struck by is Donald Trump's sheer force of personality. There are not many men, not many leaders who can walk into the Knesset in Israel to such rapturous applause, such a warm welcome, to clearly know so many members of the Israeli leadership so personally. He's been in the weeds on this, and then He's
been in the weeds because your polling sources say different. You guys have paid people. You have horrible pollers. You have horrible things that are going on.
An hour later, appear in a room of world leaders, Arab and Muslim leaders, and have the same kind of warm welcome. It really is his force of nature which has managed to make this happen. I mean, I was struck that he was standing on that stage here in Sharm el-Sheikh, welcoming world leader after world leader, many of whom he's had his disagreements with, as we know. And it wasn't President Sisi of Egypt doing that. It was him. He is front and center here. His force of will, he has said what he wants to happen. He's laid out this 20-point plan. The objectives are very clear.
So tell me a better story of redemption in the last 100 years, from political persecution to peace deals. Who else has done this? The bar for 2028 is now impossibly high. So if you got value from this report, please tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what winning looks like, guys, because I know we haven't been used to it under the Biden administration. And while Democrats are shutting down the government to fund gay pride parades in Eastern Europe and like locusts in Egypt or whatever, it's insane. Trump just rewrote the Middle East map. And while they demand millions of dollars for African feminism, he's bringing home hostages and forcing terrorists to surrender. And the contrast, it couldn't be clearer. They destroy, and guess what? Trump, he does what he does best. He's building. They're dividing, and he's uniting. They weaken America. He makes us unstoppable. And world leaders are organizing to give him the Nobel Peace Prize because they recognize what Democrats refuse to admit, that this is historic leadership. From the Knesset and Arab capitals, from freed hostages to disarming Hamas, Trump's doing what Biden couldn't dream of accomplishing, more than, standing up and forming a full sentence. And he's using this victory to checkmate China on Ukraine. So here's my question for you in the chat. Does Trump deserve the Nobel Peace Prize more than Obama ever did? Let me know yes or no in the comments. And folks, this is American greatness restored. The establishment cannot stop it. And check out our merch shop and celebrate this victory. Sorry, guys, on that clip mix up there. So our apologies. Don't know what happened there. I was like reading it. I'm like, oh, no, we're going to get to the same thing again, guys. My bad. Oh, all right. I think Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Let me know in the comments. I think he for sure does. I think he's deserved it from his first administration, and now he's secured 8 peace deals in 8 months. It's beyond compare. And he's not done. Ukraine's coming up next. We got some stuff going on in Cambodia and Thailand because Cambodia deserves peace. So does Thailand. I think every nation deserves peace. And I think if everybody gets together and they work together, we might actually have a good world like moving forward. It's almost scary. It's like too good to be true. And Karen Finley says, we have 1,000 likes. Keep hitting that like button. If you're watching now, smash the like button, guys. And don't forget to share the stream. And we're on tomorrow night. Gary Franchi will be back. I'm Tom McCullough covering for Gary. And he's out on assignment right now, and he's feeling a little bit better. So we're going to be happy with that. Subi Az said, we need to check that guy's green card, the British reporter. Yes, we do. There's so much garbage coming out of the left side media. It's pretty rough. I'm checking for any last minute super chats. I appreciate everybody who gave super chats and donated memberships to other people. And for everybody watching, we do have a Discord server that's running 24/7. We have group chats going on. There's video calls and other things with patriots across the country and world sometimes. We encourage everybody to go ahead and check that out. So make sure you guys do the Next News Network and go ahead and join. If the mods can throw the links up in the chats. All right. I appreciate everybody tonight. Hopefully I'll see you guys again in a couple weeks or so. We'll see. All right. The left is eating mud. We're going to get up to it. So, Patriots, what a show we've had tonight. We started with Mexican cartels putting bounties on ICE agents' heads, actual assassination contracts on American law enforcement, coordinated with Antifa terror cells storing weapons in Portland. And these aren't protesters. They're enemy combatants on American soil, funded by the same dark money networks Glenn Beck exposed. George Soros. Millions flowing through the Soros organizations while they dress up in panda suits to make you think that they're harmless. The No Kings protest this Saturday, 4,000 locations, millions of people mobilized, all organic, quote unquote, with matching signs and military coordination. They're using the same playbook that destroyed Cuba and China. Mobilize the youth, create chaos, and seize power. But Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent promised justice is coming. They're tracking every dollar, every organizer, and every single conspirator. And Jack Smith's crimes are finally catching up with him, and Jim Jordan's subpoena exposed everything. Illegal surveillance of Republican senators, evidence planting at Mar-a-Lago, stealing Trump's medical records. His speaking tour becomes his confession tour, and every word he speaks digs his legal grave deeper. The man who weaponized justice is about to face real justice. And the Democrat shutdown reveals their priorities in crystal clarity. $24 million for Honduras climate programs, while the Smithsonian is closed for American taxpayers. There's all while millions of dollars for transgender activism in the Balkans, while food stamp recipients are going hungry. So they're punishing American families because they can't stand Trump's success. And your suffering is always their political strategy. And what success it is. Trump just achieved what no president in history has accomplished. Hamas is disarming, hostages have been freed, the entire Arab world united behind America. And even Chris Cuomo applauded. And Bill O'Reilly explained the chess game Trump's using Middle East peace to corner China and Ukraine. And this isn't just diplomacy, it's total strategic dominance. And world parliaments are organizing to give him the Nobel Peace Prize that he actually deserves. He didn't just get elected and get a Nobel Peace Prize, guys. He's earning it. And thank you to everybody who sent super chats in the Rumble rants tonight. You are the heartbeat of this show, and your voices matter. Your support keeps independent media alive. And when you share these streams, when you bypass their algorithms, and when you tell your friends and family the truth, you're soldiers in the information war. So hit up at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and show the world where you stand. We've got the alligator Alcatraz reminding them what happens to traitors. We have President Otto Penn celebrating real leadership, and our American Badass series for patriots who don't back down. And tomorrow we're going to have more explosive revelations as this administration continues draining the swamp and restoring American greatness. The deep state is panicking, the left is melting down, and we're just getting started. Again, my name is Tom McCullough. I'm filling in for Gary Franchi, and thank you guys for joining the Raw feed. So keep fighting, keep sharing, and keep the faith. The best is yet to come. And we'll see you tomorrow, Patriots. Stay strong, stay free, and God bless America.